I would like to ask you, we're all, of course, touched by the... Is it working? We're all touched by the events of 1994 when we're here in Kigali. And I wanted to ask you, is it possible that anything similar can happen again? And if not, why is it necessary to restrict political activity or life in Rwanda?
Well, first of all, it should not have happened at all. But now you're asking me whether it could repeat itself. So you're already placing me and my country in a different category altogether. Meaning if for others it has not happened and it doesn't need to happen. For us it happened, and you're asking me whether it can repeat itself. So it means you are putting Rwanda in a different world altogether. But in any case, it should not have happened, and it can't happen again and shouldn't happen again in Rwanda. In fact, in the same way, I wish and I believe it shouldn't happen anywhere else. That's very important. Now, but for linking that, our history, our tragic history, as some assumption or assertion you have made, really your own, it's not mine. Probably I don't even understand it. Don't understand that when you came here, when you have been here, all you have been able to see is political restriction. That, in my view, if this is what you got from Rwandans you found here, this small land of 12 million people, then I would, first of all, I would say even at a personal level, I have no business being the leader of this country. If this is really what you found, and this is what the Rwandans told you. But this is what you got from somewhere else, I think you take the question to where you got it from.
Can I say one thing to this? We've had this meeting on the MDG goals, and I think one of the impressive achievements of Rwanda is when you see what they have done on health, what they have done on sanitation, and how they, during the last 20 years, have really increased the wealth, the prosperity of the country. And I think to any country, if you want to make sure that the conflict doesn't arise, whether it's internal or global, make sure that your country prospers. And I think we've seen now that on a lot of MDGs, Rwanda is now topping the score of achieving it. I think all of our group have said that we have been impressed by the achievements done. And really with the back picture of the tragic events that was here, it's been impressive what you have done.
Thank you. We'll take a second question. Yes, sir.
Thank you very much. Still from Norwegian Broadcasting. Mr. President, your country has been criticized by Western communities or organizations for being authoritarian. What do you hear if you do not limit political activity in Rwanda? Or is it like this, that you think that Western leaders who criticize Rwanda for this tend to over-focus on this issue and fail to see the country's real accomplishments in the last 20 years?
I don't know whether it is not the same question that you are repeating. Probably, I don't know whether I should give you the same answer, but I don't know about Western opinion that you refer to or that you might represent. I know the Rwandan opinion. The Rwandan opinion that aims to fit in the universal area of things, of opinion, if you will. So it seems our thinking are not aligned, mine and yours. It's just an issue of repeating ourselves, given our history, the history of Rwanda. Tragic history thereof, which, by the way, has factors external led to it. Here you are giving me an impression that there is some Western opinion perfect, that everybody must measure themselves by. I also inform you that actually this tragic history of ours has a huge component external, and that you refer to as the standard by which we must measure ourselves and everything against. But here in Rwanda, I wish, well, even reference to individuals who visit the country from outside, come in and go. Simple question and simple request. And you believe what you see. You believed what you saw, some of those questions would not arise. But you believe something else. This country you are in today, 20 years ago, was not there. These streets you've walked, you've seen, the people you've seen walking these streets, they were not there at that time. These streets of this country were full of dead bodies and dogs pulling dead bodies on these streets. And the same people you're talking about that make criticisms every day were part of that, cause of that tragic history. So, knowing that I'm not just answering you personally, I'm raising this point on camera, watching televisions or others listening on radios. I am telling them that what has happened here after, in terms of progress that has been made, probably would have led countries failing had happened in their own countries. But we did not allow to fail, not become a failed nation or state, people that dignify ourselves, stand up to any challenge as we have stood to that challenge, that tragedy in the first.
Thank you. We'll take a third question. Yes, sir.
Your Excellency, my name is Peter Wakaba from CCTV Africa. I'd like you to talk to us about a program I've seen being piloted in Kigali, the 4G LTE, and what this means for the youth of this country going forward. The fact that they're being empowered to be able to compete in a sector which countries is not even getting off the ground yet.
Thank you. At least you are making a good difference. You are believing what you are seeing. But the 4G, that LTE network that is there is not by accident. And it is, to put it in a context, it's in the form of rebuilding our country based on education, skills, infrastructure we can put in place, connect people, connect our people with the rest of the world, to allow innovation, creativity, entrepreneurship to thrive as part of many things our people have to do for growth of our economy and the development of our people. This is how this, and at the same time, one has to read some kind of mindset in this. We don't have to reinvent the wheel. Where we can leapfrog, we will leapfrog. So 4G LTE is, and somebody may say, well, but why have this when you have, problems in education or health? Or, no, for us, we are saying it's not either or. Not either you have good connectivity or good infrastructure, or you don't have everything else. But we see it as part and parcel of the efforts that have to be undertaken. And really our country, much as people would call it third world, there are some of these languages, words they describe us sometimes in some form of way that is to be given some low meaning. But even with poor countries like ours, we aim very high. Serve quality services, products, thinking. This is where we come from. This is how that happens.
Thank you, Mr. President. We'll take one last question. It's from Rwanda Broadcasting Agency.
Thank you, Mr. President. My name is Regis Isheja. I'm here on behalf of Rwanda Broadcasting Agency, RBA. My question is very simple. We, as a country, receive a lot of criticism from overseas. We heard some questions about the West, what the West thinks about us and all that, but they do not live here. They do not see the progress. For Rwandans that were here right post-genocide, July 94, and a little bit after, we saw people with no shoes, people that used to walk barefooted, that understood what the meaning of hygiene is. After that, can you tell us a little bit about the work it took to actually get to the place where we have a city that is clean, the country that is this clean, and a little bit more? Thank you.
Well, I think maybe with that, I can link that straight with even the purpose for which we are here, which has been missed out on in the questions. And talking about what other people think about us and not what we think about ourselves, as if we are less important to what we do and what we are. But I think what you've just talked about, we are here, first of all, we have Prime Minister of Norway visiting with us, and the Prime Minister came with, and also the MDGs, the Millennium Development Goals Advocacy Group, members, a number of members here present, the Assistant Secretary General for the UN representing the Secretary General is here, and many other dignitaries. We are here to discuss, among others, and very importantly, how far we've come and how much progress different countries for whom the MDGs were created have, the journey they have traveled, and how much remains to be done, and how we transition that into other higher goals in terms of sustainable development. So really, what you say about Rwanda, in contrast with other things that have also been said, is part of that. It's part of how does Rwanda, as part of the global community, however you may want to belittle what has been done, or even by extension sometimes the country and the people and the nation. I think, see, I've told people before, Rwanda geographically is a small country, very small country actually. Sometimes people may not find it on the map, but the people of Rwanda are not small. Not. And we have had huge problems, big problems, probably biggest problems you find anywhere in this world. So while the country is small, it has faced big problems, very big problems. And if you find a solution to big problems, they apply anywhere in the world, even for big countries. I think, therefore, we can't get lost in what people say about this, about that, because there is also the freedom. They have the freedom to say whatever they want, really. They can criticize, sometimes they are right, sometimes they are wrong, and this goes on. But there's something else that must go on, irrespective of what is said or criticized. We are criticized for, and lives of Rwandans must go on. We can't lose the focus on that. We may keep arguing, quarreling, debating about what is right, what is wrong in one's opinion, on the other opinion, but how about Rwandan lives? These must go on. We can't afford to make mistakes about this. And that's where we are. So we put on two hats. There is one that is very clear that we don't take off our heads, and that is dealing with Rwandan problems, benefit of our people. The other hat, which you can be on and off, is one about all kinds of arguments that exist, whether one wants to model the Rwandan society along the lines of some other society somewhere. That is something we can debate. Maybe we will find that, well, Rwandan societies elsewhere have what Rwandans can emulate and learn from and pick this and that, but I'm sure we don't want to swallow everything as we are given what we are given as human beings who have been informed by our own history, tragic history, by also who we are. We are a people. We are not just anything street and human beings. We can present ourselves. So I think that's what I said, and the Prime Minister wants to say something.
If I may say something, I think that was impressing the whole group that was here when we went through how Rwanda is achieving its end. I mean, we often hear a lot about statistics, but when the Minister of Health told us that they were monitoring every woman who died in birth, made a report, make sure that to learn from that, and to make sure if something else could happen. I mean, it shows a capacity to governance all around the country, which is impressive. And I think a lot of leaders around, especially in the African countries, have a lot of good intention, but they don't have the same capacity to follow through the policy. I think it's a good example for other countries to learn. learn from Rwanda, especially when it comes to the MDG. Don't get to the top of some of the statistics. No.
Thank you.